Stop overthinking. I think that's very important.
Don't spend outside of your means.
Know what you want to purchase. Make the effort to always go and read and understand. Know what you're purchasing. You must have that peace of mind to say.
Okay, so
right, welcome back.
Welcome back to our second episode of Two Dads Podcast, where we talk about everything dad.
Yeah.
So actually, what I realized in our first episode, right, is we breezed through our introduction.
Oh yeah. We indeed gave an overview about preparing for parenthood. I think
Yes.
Yeah, that is really a good summarized version of a lot of things that we have discussed in our last episode.
Yeah. So I think in this episode, what we can do is to pick one topic that we mentioned in our first podcast, and do a deep dive.
Yes, certainly. Let's deep dive. I think we were going to talk about finance-related topic today, right?
Yes.
So I think
definitely.
that's going to be something interesting. So maybe CK, talking about finance, budgeting, planning. I think you have the most accurate data point because your wife is pregnant and is due for delivery soon. Your data is more recent and is probably more relatable to people. Mine is pre-COVID phase and all the way to 2022. Charges may have changed because GST has increases since then. I was enjoying 7% and you're gonna suffer with an additional 2% of GST. That probably gonna be an impact, right? So maybe walk us through how has it been for you in terms of planning for your finances, budgeting for the whole journey, and then I think it's a 9 months worth of financial planning, and thereafter, it's no longer just 9 months. It's like never-ending kind of financial budgeting planning. But I think we're probably going to talk and zoom in a little bit more within the 9 months period, and maybe after delivery, child is out, there are also certain budgeting that you will do. And maybe share with us a little bit of your experience, your budgeting experience.
Yes. So my wife and I, we did not plan for the child that we have.
Oh, so it was a surprise?
Yes, it came as a surprise. Right. The funny story, we actually thought it was food poisoning. So I got food poisoning the 2 weeks before.
So what do you have for dinner? Is it like
I have no idea. I have no idea what caused the food poisoning. It could be barbecue, right? We did not cook the meat properly. So I got food poisoning, and then food poisoning, or was it stomach flu? I think it was stomach flu, and that could be contagious.
Oh yes.
Right. So we thought that she got the stomach flu as well. Turns out it was pregnancy. We were spending 2 weeks, I think, overseas, our so-called mini honeymoon.
Oh, Japan, right?
Right, yes, Japan, Korea.
You're having
spend
some sake moments, I saw.
So we spent some time overseas, and throughout the whole trip, we had no idea. She was feeling a bit nauseous and whatnot. By the time we came back, and we kind of suspected, no way stomach flu could last that long. And we got tested.
Was it like since the start of the trip that whole symptoms?
It was.
How long were you in Japan for?
10 days. 10
days of, oh my gosh.
So it was 10 days of nausea. We had, like I said, ginger pills, nausea pills. We took it along with us to help with the nausea.
And you still
it was not easy, but it was fun. So yes, it was not something we planned. We did talk about it. We wanted kids, just that when we kind of left it to fate. So
a lot of people would have planned for the dragon baby. I thought you had
not
planned
us,
for it.
not us. Right, it was not planned.
Okay.
So when it came to financials, we actually started once we found out.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Which is slightly different from you, right? Because in the first podcast, you mentioned you actually planned for 2 kids, and the financial planning came in after that. So in my case, the financials came after. We had no idea what we were getting into in terms of the finances of pregnancy. And it was find out as we went along. We knew the first thing we needed to do was to visit a gynaecologist.
Oh,
right. That was the very first thing that came to our mind.
Yeah.
And I guess it all branched from there. So we visited the gynae in I think by the time we found out it was 4 weeks. 8 weeks old. Right, the baby was already 8 weeks old, so 2 months. So from then on, the gynae actually guided us through the different tests available, the types of vaccinations, the types of screenings, the scans that we need to do. From then on, we started to work out the cost. And I believe every gynae has a package. Did yours have a package?
I'll share a little bit more on that later on.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So we had a package, right? And it was basically just X number of packages.
Can you give us like a ballpark figure, like what's the damage for that?
I think it was about $2,000.
Oh, for the entire package.
I think it's for the entire package. I can't remember exactly how many visits.
It's just for gynae consultations.
Consultation,
excluding
yes.
the medications,
excluding
the supplements.
Yes,
okay,
excluding everything. So it basically covers the consultation.
Okay.
I think a package would be cheaper, lah.
Roughly how many sessions are we looking at for like $2,000?
Honestly, I cannot remember. So it's like one per month.
Okay.
Then towards the end, it's once
more
every 2
frequent,
weeks and once every
It's
week.
probably going to be
Maybe
like
10, 12
10,
sessions?
11, yeah, 10,
I
12
can't
sessions,
remember the
right?
exact figure, but it's around there. So they gave us the list, right? I have the list here with me actually.
Oh.
So of course, different gynaes have different lists. I'm sure
Yeah,
yours was entirely different 2 years ago, right?
Yes.
Includes like blood tests. So I guess it's for both dads and mom. Right.
Oh.
The dad and mom.
You had
so
blood
I
tests?
did a blood test. You didn't do a
No,
blood test?
I didn't do blood test.
So I guess the blood test was the test for was it a gene or a certain chromosome? I'm not sure what they test for, but they took my blood and they took 3 vials of my wife's blood to test for. I think it's a Down syndrome chromosome.
I think
or
that's
what.
quite a few tests.
Right. So there was that.
How much was that then?
200 plus.
200 plus.
200 plus.
Okay.
Both
That's
of
for the Down syndrome test.
No, that's for both of us, our blood test.
Oh, just the blood test. It's not even the Down syndrome test.
No. The
Not
Down
yet.
syndrome
Okay.
test comes after. I think at the earliest is 9 weeks.
Okay.
Right. You can opt for, I think it's the non-invasive test. It's called a non-invasive prenatal testing.
Oh, okay.
So that's the one. If you go for it, they will let you know the gender of your
I
baby.
think that's the one that commonly people known as the harmony test.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's not cheap.
That's not sure. How much are we looking
That's
at?
at least $2,000, right? Plus minus depending on the gynae and the hospital that you
Just
go for.
right at the start of the pregnancy stage, you're gonna pay a package of $2,000.
Yeah, $2,000.
Another $2,000 for that blood test and $200 for another blood test.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a huge bomb, man.
Yes. So that's if you opt for that. So, but that is not compulsory, or I would say it's not something you need to go for unless you are tested positive during the Oscar test. So I think that's the most common one, where they test for 3 different types of chromosomes. I believe it was Down syndrome is one of them. I can't remember the other 2.
Yeah.
Right. So that one, I'm not sure how much it costs. I think it's 100 plus.
I think 100 plus to
Yeah, I think
$200.
100 plus will do.
Really,
Yeah.
like what you say, subjective to clinics and gynaes.
Yes.
Different probably have different charge, but I think the range is around there.
So the reason we didn't do that and opted for the
You didn't do Oscar at all?
No, we did not do Oscar because the NIPT covers what the Oscar does.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So it's a
an
more
all-inclusive-
comprehensive.
Yes,
kind
it's a
of-
more comprehensive one. So the NIPT actually tests more than what the Oscar does, including what the Oscar does.
Cool.
Right, plus the gender. And
That's-
so we
yeah.
actually found out the gender of our infant. I think in week 10.
Do you all like ever thought about gender review kind of events?
No,
activities?
no.
Like
So-
this is like the in thing nowadays, right?
We went lean,
Okay.
right? So where we don't feel we need to spend like gender review parties and that kind of thing. We try to save where we can.
Well, that's good. Talking about gynae visits, right? Because very interesting journey for you. It was unplanned, and you all came back from Japan, and immediately upon finding out, you have no time to research on gynaes.
None.
So how do you all make a quick decision to say, hey, test positive, let's go to a gynae, and then subsequently, is it the same gynae that you all stick throughout since the first one that you all went to?
Yes. So interestingly, we did not gynae surf, is that even a term? So I guess people out there do visit like 2 or 3 gynaes before they pick one, right? We pick ours based on recommendation from friends who already had kids. They thought their gynae was okay, and when we visited our gynae first, and we thought okay, so we just decided to stick
that's
with
really
it.
nice.
Yeah, so we did not go to the gynae first. We of course went to a GP, right? Our GP. We asked our GP, any recommendations for gynae? He told us that he's already old. Anybody he recommends will be the same age as him. They want to retire. Maybe just ask your friends. So that's what we said. That's what we did.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. That's interesting.
So I think going down the list, there's more to the list, right? So that is like only the 12th week. We also have the pre-eclampsia scan, right? The intrauterine growth restriction scan.
That's the more structured scan of
Yes, I think that's the structural scan where they actually look at the baby's growth. I believe you mentioned the fingers.
Yeah, they're going to look at the fingers, the toes, making sure it's all in place, intact.
Yeah. So that's the scan.
You do the face structural one. Nowadays people can see how your baby look like, doing the facial structural scan. No.
I think it's not necessary.
Why do you think so?
In my personal opinion, it's not an accurate depiction. I'm not sure how accurate that scan will be. We will see her face in 9 months, right? You're just paying.
That's the best anticipation that you're gonna wait.
Right, you're just paying to take a photo 9 months before, where you can start taking your photographs after she's born. So to us, it didn't make sense. I guess we are slightly more practical in a way. So we didn't do that scan. So everything we did were medically necessary in a way. Yeah. So the pre-eclampsia, I can't remember how much that costs.
And ballpark estimated figure that you're looking at?
200-300?
Oh, in a couple of
Don't quote me on this because I cannot remember how much this costs. Right. Then after that, there is the detailed fetal anatomy scan. That's the one I think they scan.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I think the anatomy is the one that scans the whole structure. Right?
So I'm not sure if they packaged it together or
I think
not.
it packaged it. Mine was together.
I think it's together. Although I think we did ours in the 20th week. So it could be another scan where they scanned, I think, the bone structure, the growth. I think they scanned the ribs, the femur, and the arms and stuff like that. After that, additional vaccinations for the baby. So interestingly, I believe in the past vaccinations were given to the baby after they were born. So whooping cough vaccination. Did you get that?
Totally no idea what you're talking about, but maybe my wife did it. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah.
So I believe what they told us was if the mom gets the vaccination, it will.
I mean, I recall something like this, but
it actually goes to the baby, So we did both the influenza vaccination. I believe that one we did at any GP would do. Yep, and the whooping cough we did it at the gynae.
Okay.
Yep, and then followed by I believe was a glucose test.
Oh yes,
that's the one where.
You drink this disgusting little drink.
Yes. I actually asked, can I take a sip? But no, I was rejected. They need to finish the whole bottle. So response from my wife is, I'm not sure if she said it was sweet, but it was, I think, thick, very thick feeling, very hard to swallow. It looks very liquid, right? But apparently it's quite hard to swallow, and you have to fast before that, right? So fasting plus very unappetizing bottle of water, I think it's normal for them to feel nauseous. But if you puke, you have to do the test again.
Damn.
And on a different day. You can't do it on the same day. So which means fasting again. So usually they will let you like sit down or in certain cases lie down, just so that you don't puke the entire solution out, right? So something to take note. So that also costs money. right? I can't remember how much already. The last, I believe, test that we did was a swab, a vaginal swab. So that is to swab for a certain bacteria that I think 25% of women, healthy women, will have. So and I think there is a very low chance that during birth that bacteria will infect the baby. So that's the test we did as well. And I guess that's pretty much all the tests that we
all
did.
This is only pertaining to gynae related visits and consultation, right? So you mentioned like there's $2,000 at the start, $2,000 at the next phase,
consultation,
couple of $100s as well, right? And I mean, financially, if someone don't have like an emergency fund, that would be a challenge because, like for your case, you didn't plan for it. It's just like letting things happen as per natural itself. It's not pre-planned, and it will be caught you by surprise if you were not financially prudent. You don't have enough savings because upfront, if you go to a gynae, I mean, of course, there are cheaper options out there that we can discuss more later on. But if you decided that, like yourself, you want to go to a private hospital and there's an option, you need to sign on a package or, the gynae cost is going to be expensive. And then the test, people can say that, okay, let's not do the test, I can opt out and I save that money. But but most of them would want a sense of security that my baby is healthy.
Yes.
So that would it easily sets you off at like probably $4,000 to $5,000 at the start, just 2 months, and you need to spend all this. And at the same time, you need to continue to sustain whatever expenses that you have in your day-to-day life, debts that you may have, like study loans, if you have house, and rental loans, whatever, car loans, if you have a car. That's going to be a challenging thing. But for your end, how do you work towards this? Because yours is not planned. It's really caught both of you by surprise. And you just spent a bomb going to Japan, right? It's going to be expensive.
So I'm not sure how we we navigated through those I would say financial challenges. Like you said, we just settled our BTO down payment.
Ooh,
right? But
cash?
I believe CPF.
Mostly CPF.
Yeah, CPF. So we have been working for some time already, right? So we have accumulated a good amount in our CPF to handle the down payment for the flat. So we're not too worried there, and we will be getting our flat soon, and they do not require any more further down payment until you receive the keys. Then
that's gonna completely wipe out your CPF, bro.
Yep, our CPF, me and my wife. Then after that is the loan.
Yeah.
So that's another.
And renovation is gonna be another bomb, man.
Yes.
Everything is happening this year, right?
Next year.
Oh, next year. Okay, you still have time to save up. So
we'll get our flat next year. So yes, that's the thankful thing that our flat is coming next year, so we can we still have 1 year buffer time to deal with that. So we can totally focus on the pregnancy financial side of things this year. So that's how we did the split. And of course, we have to consider her income, my income, and what's our expenditure like. We have to cut down a lot on spending on wants and just focus on needs. Okay. Right? Babies, medical bills, baby equipment, baby insurance. These are the things that we classify as necessary, and then we just work backwards.
Wow. That's a lot of things that you need to be preparing for, savings.
Yep.
Making sure that you have sufficient to sustain through all this whole journey. And next year is going to be another challenging journey where the house comes. There's going to be a lot of expenses on your end.
Yes. So the good thing about this is that the spending or the expenditure of the gynae visits, they are staggered. You don't really spend all upfront.
Okay, so also the package for $2,000 is not like an upfront.
Oh no,
one-time
that's
payment.
upfront.
Oh, that is upfront.
That is upfront,
Oh, okay.
right? But if you look at it this way, it's actually paying more upfront, but you pay less in the long run, right?
Yep.
Individual payments definitely is going to cost more, so the package actually in the long run saves you a bit of money.
It depends.
What I was referring to, the other, like the tests, the vaccinations, yeah, they come in stages, monthly, sometimes bi-weekly. So it's not too bad if you look at it that way. The big ticket items would be definitely the consultation.
Yeah.
Right, the NIPT, if you opt for it, that's the big one. Otherwise, the Oscar is pretty affordable. If Oscar is negative, then there's no reason for the NIPT. Then the last one would be the hospitalization.
Oh yes.
That's the biggest explanation.
The delivery part itself, right?
Delivery package.
Yeah. So because you are going to be delivering, your wife is going to be delivering at a private hospital, right? So have they already gave you a rundown total expected damage and cost that you'll be looking at for delivery, for the wards, everything? How much are we looking at for that?
So I don't have the exact figure with me, but the exact figures are readily available, I believe, online. Or if you just write an email into the hospitals, they usually have tours.
Okay.
Right,
Ooh.
physical tours or virtual tours.
Nice.
The hospital we went for is Mount Alvernia. So they had a physical tour. We went for the tour. During that tour, they will explain to you the different tiers of maternity wards and their respective pricing.
Are you getting like?
No. When we went for the tour, they informed us that MOH actually has a guideline right now that restricts the number of visitors to 2 people.
Oh, okay.
At any point in time.
Okay.
So in the ward where the mummy is, only 2 people can visit at one point in time. So no matter how big the ward you go for, only 2 people can be in.
I just did a quick search on Mount Alvernia's delivery package. So normal delivery, let's take a look over here. Right, it says a maximum Medisave claimable is about $1,008. We have additional Medisave claimable at $900. So if you're gonna stay at a double bed, that's gonna be a $3,000 damage.
Yes.
If you're gonna go, and it ranges up to the most premium suite, right? $7,300.
And that is for natural delivery.
Yes, and there is also natural delivery with epidural. That is gonna be even costly. Double bed is $3,008, up to a premium suite of $8,200. And of course, there are assisted delivery. I think assisted is different range is 3.5 up to 7.5. Cesarean, 5,200 for double beds. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
cesarean section is of course going to be more expensive because it is an open wound surgery.
Yeah.
And your stay in the hospital is longer. So it's actually 4 days, 3 nights.
Yeah.
Whereas the natural delivery is 3 days, 2 nights.
Wow.
Hence the difference.
But the good thing is there's still Medisave subsidies that you can claim and it can offset. I mean, for the normal delivery, I'm looking at like $1,008 offset plus $900. That's going to easily help you offset about $2,000 over dollars.
Yes.
Depending on which suite you stay on. Are you staying on the premium suite?
We didn't go for the double bedder. That's for sure. And we are definitely not at the top tiers.
That's going to be
so we spend within our means.
I think that's very important to look internally at budget because spending within means, I think, of course, at the same time, not compromising comfort because I think the wife just deliver, they need rest and they need a sufficient space for, the baby and the wife to have that kind of bonding, especially you will be there too. So cannot compromise also for the comfort, and I think that's pretty important.
Yes. Yeah. So the driving factor for us in selecting the wards and the tier of the wards is actually that's why the physical tour is quite important. You can actually go and see what the ward looks like and the type of equipment, the layout, and the most important thing, the bed where the dad is going to sleep on. You can actually test not bed. you don't get a bed to sleep on. You get the daddy chair.
Sofa.
Yes.
Mine was also like a sofa kind of bed. Yeah.
So you get to test the hardness of the sofa, and that was those were the main driving factors we based our selection on.
Curious, why? I mean, there's also public healthcare institutions that you can choose, right, to go. So what's the decision? What makes both you and your wife decide that we want to try a private hospital instead of going to like KKH, or SGH?
Distance is the biggest factor. Mount Alvernia is the hospital that's the closest to where we live.
Stay. Okay.
Yes. So it's inaccessible actually if you take public transport, because I believe you have to take shuttle bus. Public transport wise is a bit inconvenient, but for us, because we have a family car we share within the family, so I think it's pretty accessible for us. It's like a 15-minute drive to the hospital. So that was the biggest factor when choosing that particular hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. And also you have to check where your gynae practices in, right? If your gynae does not practice in the hospital, then you don't really have a choice. If your gynae only practices in one hospital, you too don't have a choice. So that's why when picking your gynae, it's actually quite important to see where your gynae practices it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, our gynae practices in Mount Alvernia, which is the closest hospital to us.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, everything just fell into place. Yeah.
Cool. Talking about insurance earlier on, you talk about baby insurance and maternity insurance. I think you have also purchased maternity insurance for your wife earlier on. Share a little bit, because I think there are a lot of maternity insurance out there, and most of it are relatively quite similar. Of course, some better coverage, some maybe got better features. What makes you decide to get one, and how do you look through? Because some people will just say, hey, let's go for the cheapest. Some people will say, let's go for the most comprehensive one, and comprehensive doesn't mean that it's the most expensive. Yeah. So how do you go about selecting that? Do you go through like your own research study, or do you actually go through a financial advisor for assistance?
Yes, so definitely we went through a financial advisor. We, like I said, did not plan for this baby, or rather it was a very loosely planned pregnancy. So when we first thought about medical insurances that covers the mom and the child, we approached our financial advisor. And it's important to approach one that you trust.
Of course.
So I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm just sharing what my experience with the plan is with my financial advisor. So by no means am I promoting this, okay? But the one that we got was from AIA.
Oh, okay.
So it's the what's the name of this? Mom to baby plan. Mom to baby insurance. So it covers the mom, right? During for pregnancy complications, death, medical negligence, hospitalization up to 30 days, so on and so forth. I can't remember the details. I'm basing this off the brochure, right? The full details, do check with your financial advisor. And then the key thing is that it also covers the baby against congenital illnesses and hospitalization for up to 30 days.
I think these are important coverage that you cannot neglect to say, let's not have all this, because I think that's the whole purpose of having that maternity coverage, right? It's not just protecting the mommy, but also
the baby as well. Yes. And I believe the key factor that kind of attracted us was the option to transfer the plan to the baby.
Okay.
Yeah. So after covering the mom, if nothing happens, or even if there is there are some complications, we still get the option to transfer the package to the baby. Full details, I'm not too sure. I will need to go and refer back to the policy again. But yeah, that's the one that we got.
Was it the cheapest for your case, for AIA? I think AI probably is usually on the mid-range kind of premium.
Mid-range, it was affordable for us, right? But that's a subjective thing, right? So what's affordable to me may not be affordable to someone, or it may be cheap to someone else, you know. So it was a comfortable range for us, right? So we had no qualms going with this policy.
But I think that's important that when after you purchase it, you must have that peace of mind to say,
yes,
yep, I don't need to go and study too much detail. Stop overthinking. I think that's very important.
Yes, and the important thing is not to spend beyond your ability to pay for it.
Yeah. So if any financial advisor asks you to spend beyond your ability that you can pay, knowing that this is your amount that you can afford, time to change your financial advisor, people.
Always find someone that you trust, and that is the most important thing for me.
Yeah.
I trust this.
I think trust is one thing. The next one is really that person must take into consideration the best interest of your finances, and because that's very important. If that financial advisor doesn't know about your financial planning, and they straight away come to you and say, okay, let me sell you this maternity package, but I think it works for you, but not understanding what is something affordable. Chances are this person is just trying to close another sales, and I think we have probably seen a lot of folks and doing this kind. They're just treating you as another sales. Yeah, but that being said, there are good financial advisors out there. Definitely, I'm not saying that there are bad financial advisors. There are great folks out there that really care about their clients. Taking care of their planning, making sure that they are well covered. Yeah. So hats off to this group of financial advisors out there who really do go the extra mile for their clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Interestingly, when I was choosing my first maternity package for my wife, it's actually the cheapest.
Okay.
So it's the cheapest, but doesn't mean it's not good. I think back then, now there is no more Aviva, so I chose Aviva back then. So for practical reasons, the price, I look at it, it's the cheapest among the rest that I'm comparing with. But the coverage, it's not actually worse off than the rest. It's actually quite similar. Of course, we know that we cannot compare plans with another plans for apple, because, for example, this plan A probably cover ABC, plan B cover A, B, and D. So these have D, these have C, but the lack of each. But I think it complements one another, and it's really weighing what's more important for you in terms of coverage, right? So I think eventually we chose that because we are also covered. Personally, my wife is on term plan with Aviva, so we thought that it makes sense. Let's do it because back then Aviva maternity, you need to bundle it with a term plan, and we are looking at a term plan. So I think that was a pretty straightforward decision for us. And of course, when my second child was born, right, Aviva was already no longer available because they are taken over by Singlife, and we just went for the next one. I think it's not the cheapest anymore, but I think it was a well-covered plan. Yeah, so that was something that we don't compromise. We want to make sure that it covers sufficient congenital conditions, sufficient coverage amount, and yes, critical illness, those are important stuff. Those also covering the baby, what kind of coverage. So we look at all this, ICU, NICU, these are also important stuff that we look at. And yeah, so that was our journey of that. And how I do it is I didn't find a I did approach a financial advisor, but it was not approaching them and say, hey, can you sell me a plan? I need a plan. I went to the financial advisor and say, hey, I want this plan. Give me this plan.
Right.
Would you want to consider the other option? I would say no. It was like, why? I've studied enough. Whatever you're going to share with me, I already found online. And I think that's on my part, that how I did my preparation for this whole journey. And not only just maternity, all my insurance, I tried to do it. Which is what I think I shared with you before. My FAs always tell me, stop doing my job yourself. You're gonna kill me. Yeah. So I think we talk a lot about finance, planning, insurance, and I think the next phase is buying stuff at home, right? So many things you have preparing for the coming of this newborn.
Yes.
And then usually on and off you receive news that, hey, there's a new baby fair, there's a new mommy fair. So how many have you actually went to?
So there were 2. So incidentally, there were 2 before the birth of our child.
Oh, just 2?
Yeah, just 2. So there were only 2, I think, big fairs. I believe one was mother care and the other is mummy's market.
Okay.
I think it was these 2.
Yeah.
And both we got something.
Nice.
So when we look into equipment, baby equipment, baby preparation, baby bottles, baby diapers, baby pram, cot, we kind of had a list.
Is it like the branded stuff, the most expensive kind? Some people always stay by the most expensive. I need to buy bamboo baby cot.
Right, because I think the mentality is money is not a factor. We just want the best for our baby, or the best for our child.
True.
To us, the brand did not matter. It was more of the practical side of the equipment that we buy.
Yeah.
It has to be easy to use and not cause frustration, because even the slightest thing can light the fuse. Will trickle down to more frustration and brewing.
Definitely.
So when we went to these fairs, and I do recommend everyone to go for such fairs because you get hands-on experience on all the equipment that you can.
Is it usually cheaper in these fairs as compared to online? Because sometimes online,
maybe not, but they do give a lot of freebies, goodie bags, purchase on purchase, purchase with purchase, discounts, just to promote their brand. So in the first baby fair, I believe it was mother care, we got our stroller.
Oh.
Yeah, so brand new, not cheap, okay, but like I said, we went for ease of use. We wanted one that could fold easily, so this could be folded with just one hand. Yes, you just press and flip it forward and it closes.
Nice.
Opening not so straightforward.
Okay.
You need your foot just to anchor it down.
Okay.
But you can pull it up with one arm. That was important to me.
Yeah, definitely.
To dads, because that is the job of the dad. Right, dads will be the one carrying the pram, pushing the pram, folding the pram, keeping the pram, right?
Yeah.
Going up the escalator, so on and so forth. So dads you do need to try the pram out, right? The pram that we got also had an attachment that allows you to attach the baby basket from the stroller into the car seat.
Oh, so it's like an infant car seat kind of.
Yes, so it's like an infant car seat stroller kind of thing.
Okay.
It's convenient, right? Because you do not want to consistently bring your baby out of the car seat and extract your baby into the stroller, unstrap the baby from the stroller, extract the baby into the car seat. So it's just unlock and lock, unlock and lock. So nice. Practicality, that was the thing.
Practicality comes at a cost, right? So how much are we looking at? Are we looking like $1,000 for that? Because I know of prams. Yeah. $1,000?
No. I know. Okay, I'm agreeing with you that there are prams out there cost $1,000, but no, ours was somewhere around $600.
I think that's pretty decent.
Yes, most prams that have such features built in, convenient features built in, they cost
$600 includes that whole infant baby car seat thing.
Yes, everything.
That's actually pretty decent, I think.
Yes, the stroller itself, I don't think it costs that much, right? Because the stroller is meant for bigger toddlers. What we did was we topped up the basket.
Yeah.
Right, that's the one that came with it for another $200-300.
So that infant car seat thing was the whole thing that I brought to hospital on that day of discharge for my 2 kids, and I'll just throw them in because some people that carry the baby, during this discharge, right?
Yes.
We didn't. So that came in handy because we put him in and then we just go to the car park and just immediately put it in.
It's important for drivers because I don't think you're allowed to hold the baby in the car. It's quite dangerous, right?
It is dangerous,
right.
but there are people, like for example, if you take a taxi, you have no choice. You have to carry. But of course, that little baby is so fragile. You would want to protect it as much as possible. So I think that their whole infant car seat was quite good, well built, right? A lot of support, making sure that they have even infant insert to make sure that it gives proper support to the neck, the back. so that it's well protected and well covered. And I think even if you don't drive, that would be a good initial thing that you can consider to purchase, as a dad, to help, during discharge, rather than carrying baby, and you can put it in that infant car seat. And don't need to buy a brand new one. I think Carousel has a lot, and mine in fact was from Carousel. I can't recall how much I purchased, probably within 50 or 70 bucks.
Wow.
It was a good brand, not that, and the condition is actually quite good. We got it at quite a decent deal. And we use it, for my first child and second child. And after my second child outgrown it, we sold it, and I think we probably sold it at around $50 as well. It's like,
You practically spend nothing on the pram.
Not the pram, but the baby car seat.
The baby, yes.
But of course, baby car seat, we bought something a little bit more expensive. Yeah. And firstly, it was the one that we bought. If you ask me now, today, would I buy that? It's actually not practical because actually it's quite heavy. It's 12 kg.
Yes.
Easy to fold, easy to unfold, but it's heavy. That's why it's a little bit tough if you want to bring it out. But so I buy it for only one reason. It's a Liverpool pram. So yeah, I bought it because it was a limited edition Liverpool pram. Right? And I was like,
so you actually spent more for the Liverpool badge.
Yes, for the aesthetics. But that being said, that pram itself is still a solid built pram. I quite like it. But if you ask me today will I buy it, I will still reconsider again. Because using it, like even going overseas, we actually rent prams. There are services out there that allow you to rent prams. We rent strollers to go overseas, and I've tried strollers that is like, whoa. Light, easy to fold, practicality. Talking about practicality, those are the ones that I think makes more sense.
Yes.
Yeah. But of course, it comes at a huge price tag.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So on top of prams, strollers and baby car seat, the other big ticket item would be the cot. So cots range from actually double digits to 4 digits.
4 digits is like buying like a king koi bed or what?
Yes. So you'd be surprised, but those are of course very good quality, right? They are using real wood. Real wood.
Do you buy that kind of cot that once they reach a certain age you can transform into like a toddler kind of bed? There are that kind of.
There are those kind of cots. So I think you can lower the mattress
open
platform.
one on the side and it become a toddler.
Yes. We did not get that, right? The one that we got, we were limited by the space we had at home, or the space we have at home. So the only space that we could afford was 60 centimeters width.
Wow.
And that's not very big. 65 was the maximum we could afford.
Okay.
So our options were limited, right? And thankfully we found one. Cost us about $100.
Okay, pretty decent.
Yes, it's of course not our first choice, right? Because the first choice we saw one very nice cot was about $400.
Yeah.
But the width was 75 centimeters.
Is it the one that they say made in Australia or New Zealand kind?
I'm not sure. I cannot remember anymore. It was from was it Baby Kingdom?
I heard about this brand.
Yes, it was from there. We really wanted that, but we could not afford the space because otherwise we would not be able to walk through. We had to kind of like shimmy it by our sides, walk like a crab. So that's not ideal. At least for now, when you install the cot, my pregnant wife still needs to go to the bed. So yeah, that was out, and we were really limited by our the bedroom space. Yeah. So we spent a bomb on the stroller and the baby car seat, and we kind of saved on the cot. So I think all in we did find a good deal at these expos, baby expos. Both were bought in the same expo, in the Mother Care Expo. So yes, one day spending shot over $800.
That's interesting. And you talk about there's a second one that you went and you bought something as well, right? So what do you bought for the second one?
Yes, so the second expo we focused more on the small items, baby bottles, diapers, lotion, and
talking about this,
What's
it's coming back, the memories is
yes,
coming back.
it must be coming back to you. And we bought a sterilizer. It was a steam sterilizer
Is
from
it like a Korean brand or no?
Japanese pigeon.
Japanese? Oh, okay.
Right, I believe it's a Japanese brand.
I have completely no idea, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
use
not too
pigeon
sure.
bottles for my kids.
Yes, so we got the pigeon sterilizer. So it steams the water bottles inside within 5 minutes, and it takes about 10 minutes to clear out
the UV sterilizing
steam.
part.
Not sure about the UV part. I will need to check again. I think it's
mine have
100%.
UV.
Yeah, I think ours is 100% steam.
Okay.
So yeah, we got that, and we got baby bottles from pigeon as well. We breast pump.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the other thing you can consider getting as well. We too got it.
Yeah.
I can't remember the brand that we bought it from. Was it Baby Express? I believe it's Baby Express. Yeah. Anyway, we will leave this links in the description down below if everybody is interested in the equipment that we buy.
Just ping us and we will be happy.
I'll
ask my wife to respond because my wife is the one.
So, but these are the things that we got by. Do your own research into what equipment that you want to buy.
But I must say the pigeon bottles are really great. My first one I didn't get pigeon for a start. We get another brand, some Tommy brand. I can't recall the name, but we got that. Yeah, he works well with the bottle, but subsequently we swap it out once he probably reached about 10 months old, and eventually went to pigeon, and we stay by pigeon even to our second born, and it's a pretty good bottle.
Yes,
even
and
to today they are using.
The good thing about pigeon is that once a year at the expo, I believe it's the Mummy Care Expo, you get to trade in your bottle 1 for 1.
Damn. Why didn't you tell me that earlier?
I wish I knew earlier. I would have gotten the baby bottles from you and went into trade-in.
Damn.
So, I was talking to the pigeon salesperson.
Is it only at the fair itself?
It's only at the fair.
Whoa.
So once a year, I believe it's in early April or late March. I can't remember already, but do check every year. It might change. There's a 1 for 1 trade-in.
Interesting. I think
Any bottle.
Part of sustainability effort from them, right?
I believe so.
Nice.
So it can be bottled from another brand, bottled from Pigeon. Just bring it there, 1 for 1 trade-in. Or
1 for 1 free?
I've never done it before, so I do not know the exact details. It looked like free.
Tell me next year when you go.
Yes.
I'm gonna pass you my bottles.
So yeah, the trick is to ask friends who have already, who have kids outgrown the baby bottles. Just see if they are willing to give it to you, and then just do a 1 for 1 trade-in.
Yeah,
I think that's a very, very good way to save on the baby bottles.
Definitely.
So yes, since we're on the topic of financials, right? The steamer, expo package, they had one which was I think $250. The sterilizer, 4 bottles, a couple of other stuff.
Wow.
And on top of that, if you meet a certain tier of spending, they throw in a few more free gifts. So yeah, that's the reason why we went to expo to purchase.
I think that's the reason why a lot of people. It was packed, right?
Yes, it's really, really packed, crowded. A lot of people went there. Yeah, that pretty much sums up all the expenditure, I believe, for the pregnancy. I can't.
That whole preparation for pregnancy, yes.
Yes, and not too long ago, I think me and my wife, we were doing the financials. I think we spent close to $9,000 already.
Oh, already?
Yeah, and that's because we paid for the hospital hospitalization ward.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's paid for already, and it came up to about $9,000.
Yeah, pretty interesting, amazing. Wow. I think mine whole gynae visits was completely different, right? 2 years ago.
4 years.
4 years ago, 2019 actually, 5 years ago, because the first one came out on 2020, so 2019 was, it happens. I think, like what I shared, right, we really plan, we know that we're gonna have a baby, we make the intention effort to try to have kids, and then We even know that we want to have our kids 2 years apart age gap. So all these are all planned out. I think finances wise, we were both working same. I've been working probably about 5 years since then. At the start, yeah, I think when we start to look at the price, we budgeted for a few things. Car was one of them. We decided that we actually want a car. It's not a need, it's a want. We want a car because I think for very convenient reasons, right? You can ferry around the kids for hospital appointments, to schools, and if you are getting your in-laws or your parents to help out, it's easy to actually move around. So we decided that that's the first thing we're going to budget. We chose a cheaper route, of course. We went to public healthcare institution, KK, to do our gynae visits. But that's not the first one. The first gynae visit is actually convenience because same thing. Found out, surprised, like, okay, no time to go and queue at KK, right? So the nearest one was just a couple of minutes drive from our house. So we went there, checked, and it's confirmed. Then, of course, we didn't sign our package. Yeah. Because we know that we wanted to go KK. And I think once we found my wife, the first gynae visit, confirms that she's pregnant, then we spend more effort to read up. And most of it was her reading up, gynae visits. And for KK, there's the private one and the public one. The public one is the subsidized one. Of course, it's the cheapest option. But every week or every month you go back for a visit, it's a different gynae. Yeah, so you would know which gynae will be attending to you, attending to your wife. So we chose a private gynae and that is based in KK, and my wife read up a lot on blogs, some mummies online that share, who have been, which gynae they went to. So we chose this, associate professor in KK. I think is probably one of the more popular one because every time when we go for the visit, there's so many mummies sitting right outside his room. Oh. Yeah, I think he's probably that popular. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably cheaper as compared to a private hospital, but I think the price probably wouldn't range that much difference. So that's the whole, how we came up with KK, and I think we also choose KK because of practical reasons. It's a well-recognized national public healthcare for delivering babies, right? And they have all the facilities there, like for example, NICU, and in case touch wood, any emergencies, there's all the equipment well ready and well equipped there. Yeah, so and we chose there and we decided to go there. I think that's very practical. Then we talk about cars, right? That's where we start to say, hey, I think it's time to look at car. Back then I was driving a company van, and we know that when she's pregnant, I think it's still okay, but we know that hey, the timeline needs till the delivery of the child. The child can no longer sit in a van because it's not safe. Yes. There's no seats at the back. You have to carry the front. That's going to be pretty dangerous. So we decided to start looking out for cars, planning our finance. And when we start to look at the market back then, I think thankfully COE is not that expensive. So we saw one car and we didn't go for branded cars. We didn't go for, we went for used car, but that was a renewed COE one. So same, for practical reasons and for affordability, that's the most cheapest option. It's not the cheapest, but I think it's very affordable. I think we spent about 25 or 26,000 for a car that has 5 years of COE renewed. So practically, if you look at, you're gonna use, let's say you're gonna take bank loans, that's gonna be like about $450 a month. And $450 a month for a car, I think that's pretty decent. Like if today you look at a car, the cheapest in the market is probably $890. Yes. And that's also a renewed COE car. That's probably twice the amount. And if you want to get a second car, it's going to be $1,000, $1,500 for a monthly installment. Depends on how much you down pay, right? Yeah, so we chose that for practical reasons, and it served us well for the 5 years, during its whole COE. So that's the first thing actually we budgeted for. Very interesting. And
did public transport not cross your mind?
I think we thought about it. We know that it's doable because I think back in the days, a lot of our parents probably will use public transport to bring kids around. We've seen a lot of parents still taking public transport to bring their kids to school, bring their kids to medical appointment. it's doable, but the thought of bringing an infant onto MRT to squeeze, and that's gonna be a challenge, and I foresee that it's gonna inconvenience us, of course. So that's why we decided that we're gonna pay a premium, to get something that is affordable, that can serve our convenience. So that's one option. Of course, we can take Grab, but the challenge is Grab, you require booster seats. You need to have all this around to ferry the kids, because if your kids under a certain age, they need to be on booster seat. Then of course you can take a taxi. That's fine. So we calculate the cost. If we're going to do a lot of traveling, going around, taking a taxi is probably going to cost more than owning the car. Of course, the 450 doesn't include my petrol, doesn't include my road tax and everything, but I'm paying it for convenience. So I work out the sum is probably about the same. You're gonna spend about $800 to $900 on taxi if you're gonna take it every day to send the kids to school, send the kids to then after that pick them up from school. Yeah, it's all that. And back then I think car sharing is not a thing yet. Yeah, so car sharing only. Car sharing was already in the scene, but not very popular. But it started to get more and more popular in recent days. And if you calculate, car sharing actually makes a pretty decent kind of alternate transport method. True. I calculated it, probably going to spend about $600 to $800 a month if you just do on a daily basis, sending your son to school in the morning. After that, spending weekends going out. You can go to the zoo, you can go to where. It's probably, I think the whole cost is about $800. Okay. Maybe it can go up to $1,000 if you use it more frequent. So that is actually almost the same as owning a car, or it can be cheaper, because the downside of owning a car is you still have your servicing.
Yes.
Your tires are going to wear off, your transmission gives you issue, your engine mount is going to require some change. These are considerations that we have not factored in, because we don't know when it will happen, when this whole car will fall apart. Yeah. So so after weighing all this, we decided car will make sense for us, and we decided to go for car instead of taking public transport. And of course, not saying that everybody should go and buy a car, because today COE is so expensive.
Incredibly expensive.
Car is going to cost a bomb.
Yes, especially in Singapore, COE has not seen that much of a decline.
The stock market is dropping, but COE is not dropping. COE is always aiming for the moon.
Yeah. I think that's a very, very good insight in terms of expenditure, where I don't think a lot of people have considered. Even myself, I don't think I've considered that too much yet. Okay.
So I think we probably summarize the day. We have shared quite a lot of financial planning, and as always, we're going to end off with a advice, right? So being a most recent new dad, is there any advice you would like to share?
Yes, since we are
to this topic on finance.
Yes, since we are on the topic of finance, the most important thing is don't spend outside of your means. It's okay if you spend above what you take in, if you plan for it.
Okay.
But try not to do that. The reason why I say that is because there are certain months where I have to spend more than what I make alone.
Okay.
But then you have your spouse as well, right? So discuss it together with her, how you can work around such challenges. For example, the month where I have to pay for the hospitalization ward. That month itself, the expenditure skyrocketed.
Shut up, man.
And that's just the hospitalization ward, not including food, not including necessities, your daily expenditure, right? So lunch, dinner, commuting. So certain months will be tough. Always try to spend within your means. It's important to prioritize the health of the baby, right? So some people would be like, health is important. Price is not a factor. Just charge as per needed, right? Some are like that. Some are more frugal. Say, I only want the bare minimum. So find your comfortable zone, and then I think the financials will work itself out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be my advice.
Thanks for that advice, man. I think that's really very helpful for dads out there. Wow.
Yourself, any advice?
I think finance-wise is really do a lot of reading. Know what you shared, right? That the whole thing is trying to spend within means and know what you want to purchase. Don't need to always see this person said that this is the good one, then after that it's cost so much and then we go and buy. So make the effort to always go and read and understand, know what you're purchasing, and that is very important, especially for things like insurance, and as well as your gynae visits, whether it makes sense for you to go private healthcare. Doesn't mean that private healthcare is not good. I mean, they have their good ones, and private healthcare is also another one you can choose if, let's say, you think that it's within my budget, it's within my means. Yeah, by all means, go ahead. I think these are options that you can consider. Then I think the most important is when you are saving and planning for all this finance is always, if you are already planning to have kids, right? It's always make sure that you have enough savings, and savings can be in the form of investment. Some people are more savvy, right? They will invest and park it there. And of course, if you are planning to have kids in the short term, don't go and invest in things like cryptocurrency or high risk things, because tomorrow that whole thing will tank, and then you suddenly, when you need the money because your wife tested positive, good news, but then my stock market crashed, I can't cash out. I mean, you can cash out, but you're gonna cash out at a loss, and there's gonna be a huge tank on you. So I think invest safe, invest in something that is so that you can help to grow this money to help you to prepare for the expenses that you're going to foresee upcoming. Yeah. So that's it. Well, thanks so much for the insights, CK. I think I really learned a lot about today's, being that, because it's just a couple of years apart from how I have been that, but I've truly learned quite a few things from you. That's really insightful.
Yes. And for our viewers and listeners, if you find our content helpful and you have taken something away that will potentially help benefit you in your pregnancy, do drop us a like and subscribe. That will let us know to motivate us to continue to making more videos and podcasts like this.
Yeah,